There is a strange kind of confidence that most people never learn. It is not loud. It is not aggressive. It does not need to shout in a room to be noticed. It is quiet, cold, and very hard to shake. This is the kind of confidence that Niccolo Machiavelli, a thinker from Florence who lived 500 years ago, understood better than almost anyone in history. He watched kings fall, princes rise, and ordinary men destroy themselves because they believed the world was kind. He wrote his ideas down not to make people feel good, but to show them how power really works. And once you understand how power really works, something changes inside you. You stop being afraid of things that used to scare you. You stop needing approval the way you used to. You start to feel a kind of confidence that borders on dangerous, because it comes from truth instead of comfort. Most people build their confidence on a shaky foundation. They feel good when others like them. They feel strong when they are praised. They feel safe when people agree with them. But this kind of confidence is fragile, because it depends on other people's opinions. The moment someone criticizes you, or ignores you, or disagrees with you, this fragile confidence breaks. Machiavelli saw this problem clearly. He believed that a leader who depends on being loved will always be weak, because love is something other people control, not something you control yourself. If your confidence depends on being liked, then everyone around you holds a piece of your power. Machiavelli believed real strength comes from something else entirely. It comes from being feared, or more precisely, from being respected in a way that does not depend on anyone's mood. This does not mean you should try to make people scared of you in daily life. That is not the real lesson here. The real lesson is about detachment. Machiavelli's confidence was dangerous because it was not built on needing anyone. He believed that a wise person prepares for the worst in others, not because everyone is evil, but because you cannot control what people do, only how you protect yourself from it. Most people walk through life hoping others will be fair, honest, and kind. Machiavelli walked through life expecting that many will not be. This shift, from hoping to expecting, changes your whole relationship with fear. When you expect betrayal is possible, it stops shocking you. When you expect people to act in their own interest, you stop feeling hurt every time someone chooses themselves over you. You begin to see human behavior clearly, without the fog of wishful thinking. And clarity, more than anything else, is the root of dangerous confidence. Machiavelli lived in a time of constant danger. Italian city-states were fighting each other, popes were plotting against princes, and rulers were being poisoned, betrayed, and overthrown all the time. He worked as a diplomat, watching powerful men up close. He saw how some rulers survived and thrived, while others, who seemed just as smart or even kinder, lost everything. He wanted to understand the difference. What he found was uncomfortable, but true. The rulers who survived were not always the most moral ones. They were the ones who understood reality instead of how they wished reality would be. They studied human nature honestly, without romantic ideas about goodness. They accepted that fear is a more reliable tool than love, because love can disappear overnight, but fear, used carefully, tends to stay. This idea alone can change how a person carries themselves. Imagine you no longer need everyone to like you. Imagine you no longer flinch when someone disapproves of your choices. Imagine you can walk into any room, any negotiation, any conflict, already expecting that people might try to use you, deceive you, or dismiss you, and none of it shakes you, because you already knew it was possible. That is not arrogance. That is preparation. Machiavelli's confidence does not come from thinking you are better than others. It comes from refusing to be surprised by how others behave. Surprise is what destroys confidence. When something unexpected and painful happens, like betrayal or rejection, it hits harder because you were not ready for it. But if you already expected it, if you already built your mind around the fact that people can be selfish, unreliable, or dishonest, then when it happens, you do not collapse. You simply adjust and keep moving. There is another piece of Machiavelli's thinking that feels dangerous in a good way. He believed appearances matter more than most people admit. He said that people judge you mostly by how you appear, not by who you truly are inside. Most of us were taught the opposite. We were taught that what matters is your true self, your real intentions, your honest heart. Machiavelli did not deny that inner character matters, but he pointed out something uncomfortable. The world rarely sees your inner character directly. The world sees your actions, your face, your words, your reputation. If you are honest but appear weak, people will treat you as weak. If you are kind but appear foolish, people will take advantage of you. This means that confidence is not just an internal feeling, it is also a performance, whether we like that word or not. Machiavelli believed a wise person learns to control how they appear to others, not to lie constantly, but to understand that perception shapes power just as much as truth does. This idea can feel cold at first, but it can also be freeing. Once you understand that people react to your presentation, your posture, your tone, your calmness, you stop feeling powerless in social situations. You realize you have some control over how you are perceived, and therefore some control over how you are treated. You do not need to become fake or manipulative. You simply need to understand that if you always show your nervousness, people will treat you as nervous. If you always explain yourself too much, people will sense weakness in that need to explain. If you stay calm, direct, and a little mysterious, people will often treat you with more respect, even if inside you are unsure. This is not dishonesty. It is discipline. Machiavelli believed that emotional discipline, the ability to hide your fear when it benefits you, is one of the most powerful tools a person can develop. Another dangerous idea from Machiavelli is his view on mistakes and forgiveness. He believed that when you must do something difficult or unpopular, you should do it quickly and completely, not slowly and partially. He observed that rulers who tried to be gentle by spreading out painful decisions over a long period often caused more suffering than rulers who made hard decisions fast and then moved toward stability. This applies far beyond politics. Think about ending a bad relationship, quitting a job that is destroying you, or cutting off a toxic friend. Most people drag these decisions out for months or years because they are afraid of the pain of the ending. Machiavelli's logic suggests the opposite approach. If something must end it decisively. The short-term pain of a clean break is almost always smaller than the long-term pain of a slow, uncertain unraveling. A person who learns to make hard decisions quickly, without endless second-guessing, develops a kind of confidence that indecisive people never reach. Indecision breeds anxiety. Decisiveness, even about painful things, brings a strange peace. Machiavelli also had strong opinions about fortune, or what we might call luck or circumstance. He believed that fortune controls maybe half of what happens to us, but the other half is within our control, if we are bold enough to seize it. He used a famous image, comparing fortune to a violent river that floods and destroys everything in its path when no one prepares for it, but which can be controlled with dams and channels if people plan ahead. This means that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we are not helpless either. Many people use bad luck as an excuse to stop trying. Machiavelli would say that is weakness disguised as wisdom. A confident person accepts that some things are beyond their control, but focuses fiercely on the things that are not, and builds strength before the storm arrives, not after. There is also something important in how Machiavelli viewed boldness itself. He believed that fortune favors the bold more than the cautious, because cautious people hesitate too long and lose their chance, while bold people, even if they make mistakes, are more likely to seize opportunities when they appear. This is uncomfortable for people who were raised to think carefully before acting, to weigh every risk, to avoid any chance of failure. Machiavelli's world did not reward that kind of thinking. He saw that overly careful rulers often lost their kingdoms to bold ones, even when the bold ones were less prepared. This does not mean acting recklessly without any thought. It means understanding that hesitation itself is a risk, often a bigger risk than making a decision and adjusting later. Dangerous confidence includes the willingness to act before you feel fully ready, because waiting for perfect certainty often means waiting forever. One of the most talked about ideas from Machiavelli is his willingness to separate morality from strategy when necessary. He is often summarized with the phrase that the ends justify the means, though he never wrote that exact sentence. What he actually argued was more careful. A leader must sometimes do things that are not conventionally good in order to protect the stability and safety of the people they are responsible for. He believed a ruler obsessed with always appearing virtuous, without the willingness to act firmly when needed, would eventually lose control and cause more harm through weakness than a firmer leader would cause through occasional hard choices. This is one of his most controversial ideas, and it should be approached thoughtfully rather than applied carelessly in ordinary life, since most of us are not rulers responsible for entire nations. But there is a smaller, more personal lesson hidden inside it. Sometimes doing the popular thing and doing the right thing are not the same, and a person who always chooses popularity over necessity will struggle to lead even their own life effectively. Real confidence sometimes means making choices that others will not understand or approve of, because you can see the larger picture that they cannot. Machiavelli's view of trust is also unusually clear-eyed. He did not believe people are naturally loyal. He believed loyalty exists mostly when it benefits the person being loyal, and disappears the moment it stops being convenient. This sounds harsh, almost cynical, but it protects you from a very common source of pain, the shock of being betrayed by someone you trusted completely. If you understand that most relationships, whether in business, politics, or even friendship, are partly built on mutual benefit. You stop being blindsided when circumstances change and people change with them. You learn to build relationships that are strong not just because of warm feelings, but because both sides genuinely benefit from the connection. This does not mean becoming a person who trusts no one. It means becoming a person who trusts wisely, who watches actions more than words, and who does not hand over their entire emotional safety to someone else's promises. There is also a lesson in Machiavelli's warning about flatterers, people who tell you only what you want to hear. He warned rulers to be extremely careful about surrounding themselves with people who only praise them, because flattery blinds a leader to real problems. A ruler who only hears good news eventually makes terrible decisions, because they no longer see the truth. This applies directly to modern life. Many people surround themselves with friends who never challenge them, who agree with every decision, who never offer honest criticism. This feels comfortable, but it is quietly dangerous, because it removes the feedback a person needs to grow and correct their mistakes. Machiavelli believed a wise leader keeps a small number of honest advisors close, people who are allowed to speak frankly, while ignoring the noise of everyone else who simply wants to please them. Confidence built this way is stronger, because it has been tested against honest criticism instead of empty praise. Perhaps the most dangerous idea of all, the one that changes people the most deeply, is Machiavelli's total rejection of naive idealism. He did not write about how the world should be. He wrote about how the world actually is. Most philosophy before him focused on imagining a perfect ruler, a perfect state, a perfect moral life. Machiavelli looked at real history, real wars, real betrayals, and real survivors, and built his ideas from what actually happened, not from what he wished would happen. This is why his writing still feels shockingly modern, even after 500 years. Human nature has not changed. People still seek power, still act in their own interest, still forget promises when it benefits them to forget, and still respect strength more consistently than they respect kindness alone. A person who absorbs this understanding, without becoming bitter or cruel, gains an enormous advantage over people who still see the world through a childlike lens. They are not shocked by office politics. They are not devastated by a friend's betrayal. They are not paralyzed by unfair treatment, because they expected unfairness was always a possibility, and they built their strength around that reality instead of hiding from it. This kind of confidence is dangerous because it does not need permission. It does not wait for approval before acting. It does not collapse when criticized. It does not depend on being the most likable person in the room. It comes from seeing clearly, deciding firmly, and moving forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Machiavelli was not trying to create villains. He was trying to create clear-eyed survivors in a world that punishes naivety. The confidence his ideas build is not about domination over others for its own sake. It is about no longer being controlled by fear, by the need for approval, or by illusions about how people behave. Once a person builds that kind of inner steadiness, small setbacks stop feeling like disasters. Criticism stops feeling like a wound. Uncertainty stops feeling like a threat. What remains is a calm, almost unshakable presence, the very thing that makes people around you sense, without knowing exactly why, that you are someone who cannot easily be pushed around. That is the dangerous confidence Machiavelli's thinking can give a person willing to look honestly at the world instead of the comfortable version of it most people prefer to believe.